Today is the day, people. Today's not only deadline day, but it's also my last day ever as an architecture student, which is mad. Oh my days, I feel like I could cry. It's deadline week. I'm tired, I look a mess. Okay, we're looking a bit fresher, I'm feeling better, I'm ready. Let's do it. Deadline week, here we go. Plan for the week complete. Really key. I find this planning and scheduling super important, because for me that gives me a goal for every single day. Got everything that I need to do written down on paper. It's all out of my head, and it means I can just go through, tick them off, and just kind of make my way through the work slowly but surely before we submit. The past 6 weeks I've been doing everything in Excel, but I personally just think having it written down on a deadline week is the dream, because being able to pick up this pen, ticking it off, that just works best for me. So deadline week has commenced. Let's do it. Okay, so today's job is to make a model. I haven't quite figured out exactly what it's going to be or how it's going to look, but I've made a brief plan. I'm going to go into the Fab Lab, figure out, kind of pick up some materials and see what I can do. I'm going for like a Russian constructivist inspired model. I think this is the beauty of making models. You can just pick up some materials and just make something. So the idea is basically to express the kind of simple design logic of the project through some very simple kind of components of a model. So let's do it. This is how it's looking. Work in progress at the moment. These are all clear acrylic. I just need to take the white tape off, and I need to secure this in place, and then I'm going to have a red wire going through here to indicate the movement of goods, similarly to the model that I did in the first semester. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with this. At the start of the day I had absolutely no idea what I was doing, but now I think this quite nicely represents the geometry and the expressive nature of my project, and the kind of linear components and the components that strike through the building. So yeah, success, I think. That shit's good. I've got a big soft spot for Chipotle. Really good day, really successful day. I'm really happy with that model. I always get super anxious when I'm thinking about making a model, because I always feel like it needs to take some preparation and planning, and I've been putting it off, but I'm just so glad I've done it now. I'm happy with it. I've got it out of the way. Well, it's not quite there, but obviously I've still got little bits and bobs to do, and then I'll photograph it properly on Monday, and then it will look nice in the portfolio, take up a nice page or two. So yeah, really happy, successful day, but there's still work to do. Exercising at this time of a deadline is super important for me. This is my kind of coping mechanism. When things get really tough and I get quite anxious and I get really stressed out and overwhelmed with my work, I try to either go for a run, go to the gym, or go for a walk every day. So as long as I get one bit of exercise done every day, that's my coping mechanism. I think mental health in architecture is something that needs to be talked about more, and I would like to make more videos about mental health in the future about architecture, because I've personally gone through my struggles during my time studying, and even now on a deadline week, like I've mentioned, it can become very overwhelming, it can get very intense, which causes a lot of anxiety and stress. Which is why I want to say thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring this video. BetterHelp is the world's largest therapy service, and it's 100% online. With BetterHelp, you can tap into a network of 30,000 licensed and experienced therapists who can help with a wide range of issues. To get started, you just have to answer a few questions about your needs and your preferences in therapy. That way, BetterHelp can match you with the right therapist from their network. Then you can talk to your therapist however you feel comfortable, whether it's via text, chat, phone or video call. You can message your therapist at any time and schedule live sessions when it's convenient for you. And if your therapist isn't right for you for any reason, you can switch therapists with no additional charge. With BetterHelp, you can get the same professionalism and quality you expect from in-house therapy, but with a therapist that is custom picked for you, more scheduling flexibility and at a more affordable price. And you guys can get 10% off your first month of BetterHelp using this link, and I've also linked it down in the description. So for the past week, I gave myself the goal of doing a draft of every single drawing I wanted to produce and showing my tutors on Thursday, which is 2 days ago, and because it gave me an opportunity to basically do a draft of all of the drawings, get feedback, and then it gives me today, tomorrow, Monday and Tuesday to develop those drawings, to refine them, to add loads of detail. I like to get the bulk of it done early on, and then I've got those days to refine. Today is just continuing refining those drawings. I'm slowly making my way through these. I spilt water on my notebook, so it's gone all crimpled. Not ideal. So we're slowly making our way through. As you can see today, we've got quite a lot to do, but these are all quite small tasks, like add people to drawings, change this color here. So I actually should be able to get through these quite quickly. I think it's bedtime now. A long day. Okay, 3 days till the submission, and today I'm going to talk through basically the portfolio that I have so far, show you some of the drawings, show you what's missing, so you've got an idea of the kind of graphic style, the drawings that I'm producing to communicate the project. And if you enjoyed the video so far, please just take a minute to go drop the video a thumbs up and subscribe. That'd be much appreciated. It massively helps the channel grow. So yeah, please just drop the video a thumbs up if you're enjoying it. So just to mention, before this, you've obviously got all of the research into cranes, into ship movements. And if you guys want to check out that body of research, I would highly recommend go and watch my previous video, or even my video where I submitted my portfolio back in January. Definitely check that out if you want to see the work that comes before this. And just before these visuals, there will be information about the project, the users, the project program, some of the design developments and precedents, etc. So all of my drawings are black and white with a hint of blue, because obviously it's on a port, it makes sense for you to have some blue. And this is kind of probably one of my most realistic drawings that I've done. It kind of looks like a render, but it's not, obviously. It's still got a kind of graphic edge to it. And you've got some overlay of some line work, which you can see on the water. But this is kind of like the first punchy view to show the building in its context, and you can instantly get a grasp that it's on a port. And then you go into the site plan, so once again black, whites, and a hint of red. Once again, this is just really kind of faint line work with the shadows, and you'll notice throughout all my drawings it's all black and whites with kind of harsh contrasting shadows, which I think looks really nice. I personally like it. And then this is like a logistics drawing, so this is an abstract drawing which basically demonstrates the flow of the container and the steps that it would take to go through the building. So this indicates a ship coming up. You've got the container being loaded onto a truck, taken to the building, unloaded into pallets, going through a series of storage and packing zones before it gets packaged up into a container and shipped off around the rest of Antwerp. And then this is once again showing the building in context, but a bit more closer up to indicate the more intimate movements that are going on. And then you go into the floor plan. Because the building is so big, as you can tell, this is this is 50 meters long in the scale bar. So this building, I think, is 350 meters long, which is long. Which means that I don't necessarily have to go into too much detail in the floor plans, but you get a general idea of the different zones, and I've got labeling with numbers because I think numbers just make it really simple and easy to read. And then you go into the kind of visualizations and the drawings that kind of show the experiences and what's actually going on in these spaces. So the way I've set up the project is I go through the kind of logic of the location being on a port, the logic of the unloading of the ship and the container yard, coming to the building, And then you go into the building where the goods are unloaded into a temporary storage zone, and then going into a storage zone using all automated systems. So you've got the goods being stored. They are then packaged in this kind of high-tech automated packing zone where you've got these conveyor belts. If you guys don't know my project very well, basically the idea is that I was bringing the people of Antwerp, or visitors from around the world would come to this building and they would experience the distribution of goods. So basically people would be brought to the building to be able to watch goods being imported. They would be able to buy those goods and eat those goods all on site. So I wanted a warehouse with a packing zone, and then I wanted some markets and a restaurant that would break through the warehouse, and it kind of emphasizes this distribution and the kind of the contrasting elements of a market, but also a warehouse. And then you get to the kind of public zone where you can see this public area that is clashing through the warehouse. And then when you go into the upper levels, the market level, basically you've got this long sloping building with market stalls that run side by side, and it collides through this packing zone where you can look into the packing zone. You've got the market stalls, eating zones, so I've just got these kind of moments where you zoom in on these activities. And then I think a really important drawing is this section slicing through the warehouse and the markets to indicate this kind of intersection between the two spaces. And you can see the market stalls looking over at the port, and then you've got this kind of interaction zone where people are eating their food, but they can also look in and watch the distribution of goods. So you've kind of got this like dualities of spaces, although they're very, very linked at the same time. So it's quite an interesting kind of juxtaposition of spaces. And then you've got this view that looks down into the packing zone. So this just indicates all of the conveyor belts and someone basically from that position looking down. I feel like this is missing something currently. I feel like I need to add something. I can't quite put my finger on it, but that is something to do today. And then this is more of a expressive drawing that kind of emphasizes the kind of abstract geometries and this clashing of spaces, and is more of like a graphic drawing for my project. And then you go onto the top floor, which is the restaurant, and this once again just indicates that whilst people are eating their foods, they've got views over the ports, and it's kind of this interesting intersection. And you've also got this kind of Yo Sushi inspired restaurant, which uses conveyor belts, and you can kind of demonstrate that here. And then you go into the construction of the building. So I didn't want to demonstrate every single detail of the project. I actually put together a technical report that includes a lot more detail about the construction of the building, the material choice, locally sourcing, manufacturing materials. And so I didn't want to show too much of that in my design portfolio because I wanted it to be obviously a lot of the emphasis on the design. But these kind of drawings here are really important to indicate these steel bays and the contrasting materiality. So whilst I've already explained how you've got this duality of warehouses and this long kind of continuous linear expression of distribution of goods, you've also got this striking geometries slicing through the buildings, which is made of timber. So you've got this kind of contrasting materiality to also emphasize the contrasting spaces and the experiences of the spaces. And then this is currently work in progress, but this basically describes how I've designed the steel structure to be able to be deconstructed and reused as a new warehouse structure in the future. I finish up on this drawing here, which expresses the kind of contrasting also facade language. So you've got this horizontal facade language of the warehouses, and then you've got the vertical language of the markets. And that is kind of obviously once again expressing this contrast between the spaces. So that is the drawings so far. Some of them need working on, and there's still a couple left to do, but that's where I'm at. So let's get back to it. So what I've been doing today is just getting all of the drawings to a position where I think they're pretty much ready to go. So I want to finalize all of the drawings that I have done, and then once they're done, I can kind of move on and do the drawings that I haven't even started yet. So that is my task for today, and I also need to go into uni at some point. I mean, it's getting late, it's 10 to 7 in the evening. I need to go into uni to finish that model, and just to test out some other components that might work with it, because we're running out of time. So the only addition that I've made is I've painted the edges of the clear acrylic red, because I've got to add that kind of red signature colour into it. And other than that, I've glued them all down with some super glue. I've locked it all into place, so it's all secure now. The last thing I need to do is just do the red wire that's going to go through and demonstrate the movement of goods. So it's late, let's head home. Good morning, people. So when I got back from making the model last night, I did 3 drawings that I'm really happy with. I did the front cover, the contents page, and a breaker page. I'm going to pop them up on the screen for you now. The front cover, I think, looks pretty cool. The contents page, I think, works really nicely. And then the page breaker, I really love the reds. I think it looks great. And that is literally simply taking the wireframe out of my Rhino model, overlaying it with shadows and colours, and you get some really nice drawings. So I think those 3 drawings are really good, really nice, and I'm really happy with them. Right, so today we've got 2 days till submission, and yeah, I'm feeling it. As you can tell, I'm tired, I'm feeling it, but we've got to still plough through, we've got to crack on. Today we're going to finish the model completely, photograph it, and then we've got all of the other bits like precedent pages, design logic pages, information about the projects, etc. All of those kind of bits and bobs that really tie the project together, they need to be done today. Today is the day, people. Today is not only deadline day, but it's also my last day ever as an architecture student, which is mad. And although it's my last day ever as an architecture student, tomorrow is my first day of my career, and I'm so excited. I cannot wait. Yesterday was a really good day. We absolutely flew through a lot of the stuff that I needed to get done, all of the bits and bobs, and so really today we haven't got much to do. I could be submitted in the next few hours, but we've got a 24-hour time frame to get this submission done, get it submitted, get it sent off. So today I've got 3 things to do. The first one is to do a design strategy page, talking through the building and design strategy. Number 2 is got to do another abstract drawing, and number 3 is I've got to do a kind of mini portfolio of all my sketches, development work, and link it into my portfolio. Design logic, done. Okay, I think we're pretty much there. I'm currently exporting the PDF. I'm waiting to see how big the file size is. Obviously, it's so typical when you spend so much time putting in so much detail into drawings, then when you export it, the file size is too big. It's too big to submit it, so you have to reduce the file size down, which reduces the resolution. It's annoying, but it's just one of those things. 418 megs. File size is meant to be 75 megs. So we've got to get it down significantly. Now baby, come on. It's done. It's over. Oh my days. I feel like I could cry. Wow. It's finished. That's it. It's done. Wow. But there's only one way to celebrate.